Hey everyone, this is Leanne from Of Love and Shiplap and the founder of That Tutorials and More. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on any of our videos, and check the video description for a link to the That Learning Library app. Inside of our mobile/web app, you can find all of our free tutorials and neatly organized content libraries, as well as subscribe for access to exclusive content, including all of our different masterclasses, and also access to communities for help, support, and sharing. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to sublimate an eyeglass case. Let's go ahead and turn things around. We'll have a look at this case. I'll talk a little bit about it. We'll get our measurements and we'll get everything set up to print, press, and talk about profit. This is our Sublimation sunglass case. This is one of the ones that has the reinforced PU leather, so it is actually a bit more stiff. It comes with this styrofoam inside of it to help hold its shape. And there is some magnets here. You can kind of see them coming through on the camera. That helps just give it this nice magnetic closure. So these are pretty roomy for your standard sunglasses. If you wear oversized sunglasses like me, this isn't really going to be the best option for that. But sunglasses or regular glasses, of course, can go in these cases. So our sublimation part is the white part. We'll go ahead and get those measurements. We're going to go straight across that middle section. So we have 6 3/8 by 2 5/16. We're just going to round that up to 2.5. So we've got 2.5 inches. Pay attention when you're measuring, everyone. By 6 3/8. Okay, let's go ahead and set up our design in Affinity Designer. I am working in Affinity Designer 2.0 on a Windows PC. If you are using version 1.0 or a Mac version of the software, you may notice that the interface looks slightly different, but you're going to follow all of the same steps. Our first step is to open up a new document that is set to the page size we intend on printing on based on our design measurements, and set to the orientation that that page feeds through our printer. This is the best step to ensure that you are getting accurate sizing and printing without anything getting cut off every single time. Because our eyeglass case is fairly small, we can just use letter size paper. Come to File, New or New Document, and select your letter preset from your drop-down menu. If you want to create it manually, you can do that underneath the Layout tab by simply entering in the measurements and choosing document units accordingly. Underneath the Color tab, for sublimation printing, the color format should be set to RGB/8. The color profile sRGB IEC 61966-2.1. The only exception would be if you are using a Mac computer and you're facing color discrepancy issues, then you may want to try the older color profile, which is Adobe RGB 1998. That does tend to make a difference specifically for Macs. This usually isn't an issue with Windows computers. As a reminder, your ICC profile is selected during your printer properties before you go to print. It is not relevant in your document setup for printing. Once you have all of your settings ready, go ahead and click Create. All we need to do for this project is create a rectangle that is the size of the measurements that we got with a little bit of bleed, and then make sure our design or digital paper fits within that space. Now I'm going to use digital paper for this so I can get this nice full bleed print. So all we need to do to start is select our rectangle tool from the Tools panel, which is located on your left sidebar. Once you see the crosshairs, simply click and drag to form a rectangle shape on your canvas. I'll fill that with black just so you can see it a little bit better. Next, you're going to come to your Transform panel, which is located in the bottom right side of your Studio interface. And we're going to manually enter in our measurements plus a little bit extra for bleed. So our width was 6 inches, 6 3/8 inches. So that is going to be 6.375. And then I like to just do 1/4 of an inch usually, or 1/2 an inch. It's kind of depends on the substrate. For this one, we'll do the 1/2 an inch. That'll give us 1/4 of an inch on all sides. So I'm going to do just plus 0.5. And then for our height, we had 2.5 inches. And once again, we'll do the 1/2 inch, and that is 3. Now I recommend locking your aspect ratio just in case you try and change anything later on. I'm going to move this up near the top of my page. Usually I like to center things, but when we have something small, you can move it up to the top of the page, and then that one allows you to add more. If you want to print 3 of these on this one print, you could do that. And also, if you have the rest of the space empty, you can simply cut this page in half, and then you have that second half to use for nozzle check paper or something else. So just a good idea to help you save some paper. I plan on just filling this with digital paper. Now you can use your fill tool, which is now embedded underneath the gradient tool if you're using version 2.0. You can choose to use that, or you can clip it in. I personally like to clip it in because I think it gives you more control over the placement of how it fills your shape. And for something like this, I want to make sure that I'm getting what I want visible out of the whole digital paper. Now I'm just using a digital floral paper from Creative Fabrica. On Creative Fabrica, you can find literally thousands upon thousands of different types of digital paper. Digital paper is great for this kind of project, and you can always use digital paper as a background and then add any type of text if you want to do that. This particular project is also great for photographs and just other designs, but I always recommend really filling the space because the white can look kind of bland if you don't have a nice full bleed print. So I will simply come to my place tool, which is this one that looks like a picture icon, or you can come to File and then Place. And this will open up your File Explorer. So I downloaded these from Creative Fabrica, and they are linked below the video description. We've got just some different ones. These are like winter vibes, and I just really love the color patterns here. I think I'm going to go with this one. Yeah, I think I like this one the most. So with that selected, I will click OK. When you see that downward arrow with the portal, you can click and drag. And make sure that you're just covering that entire rectangle that we created. Now I'm going to clip this inside of my rectangle, but before I do that, select that rectangle layer, come to your color panel, and choose No Fill for that outside stroke line, which is your open circle, and then select the filled circle and choose No Fill for that as well. Now come back to your digital paper layer and simply click and drag to clip this inside of our rectangle. Click and hold your cursor on the icon, drag it so that the tip of the cursor is touching the name of that layer, which in this case says rectangle, and release. You will see on your screen that it is clipped inside. You will also see in your layers panel that it is dropped down. So from here, see how we can see the boundary box outside of our rectangle? That allows us to see how we can just shrink this down. So I'm going to do that first. And then we can move that digital paper within that field of visibility and kind of decide what is the visibility that we want. So I'm going to go more towards the bottom of this because that's what I really was attracted to when I saw this particular project. So once you have everything set and ready to go, this is ready to print. If you want to create duplicates of this, you can simply right click and duplicate and then bring it on down. You can add other designs on here, whatever your heart desires. When you are ready to print, come to File, Print. Select your printer from the drop-down menu. In this case, mine is the Epson SureColor F570 Pro. And then click on Properties. Now, the Properties section is where you will set any type of color correction settings that you might have. Pretty much all of the printer properties, printer dialog boxes, has the ability to save your settings. So make sure that if you're using a converted sublimation printer, that you are saving those settings as a preset so you can quickly grab them. Because I'm using the Epson SureColor F570 Pro, which is a sublimation ready printer, I no longer have to do any of those extra steps. All I have to do is make sure that my paper settings are set accordingly and send this off to print. It's perfect every single time. It's one of the many advantages of this printer. So right here where it says document size first, it is set to letter size, which is perfect. Where it says source, it says rolled paper. I want to make sure to select auto sheet feeder. And for the media type, this is going to be on rigid. I do not need a print preview, so I'm going to deselect that and then simply click OK and OK again to send this off to print. Also, I don't do the print preview because it opens up a second printer dialog box, and it's just not necessary because Affinity shows a print preview right here in their print box, so one is more than enough. We'll click OK again and send this off to print. I've already gone ahead and trimmed my transfer. So we have our transfer, a blowout paper, some heat tape, and our substrate. For any item that's like this, like a wallet, or in this case, this eyeglass case, you're only trying to press the actual part that needs to be pressed. You don't want to have this other part on the heat press because you're not going to get even pressure. And if you try to, you're going to end up smushing this. You don't want that. So we are going to have this hanging off the edge of our press, which is totally fine. We want to be mindful of making sure that our blowout paper is not being heat pressed against this faux leather. The coating on that faux leather can easily bond to your blowout paper, potentially peel up in the process of trying to get it off. It's just not an all-around good thing to have happen. We can protect our edges here by applying a little bit of heat tape, and this will help protect it from both the heat and also from any transfer ink bleed over. Now, my tape dispenser cuts in these little pieces. If you guys don't have this tape dispenser from Amazon, by far one of my favorite purchases to date, because I love these little pieces. They are the perfect size for almost every project. This one, it'd be better if this was one solid piece, but you win some, you lose some. So all we're gonna do is take our little pieces of tape, we're gonna line them up, and we wanna be really cautious not to have it on the edge. So if you have it on the edge, if you just kinda bend it down a little bit, you can tuck it underneath. This is gonna make sure we have a nice full bleed and we don't end up with any weird like ink residue on our black leather. It's also gonna just protect that leather a little bit from the heat. All right, so once you have that all the way across, you can go ahead and attach this to your transfer. Now make sure that you are paying attention to how you want your transfer to be printed. So when this is closed, it'll be like this. I want the flowers to be upright like that. So we'll go ahead and line that up. Now you can see the little white edge here. You can see your tape hanging off. That's just a good guide to let you know that you are fully on, your substrate is fully on your transfer. I left plenty of bleed space with this particular transfer, so I'm just gonna center that nicely, grab a couple pieces of tape to secure it. Now for an item like this, I always like to rub it on the substrate, then use my fingernail to rub it along the side, and then the transfer. I find that this just really helps minimize any potential movement or shifting. We want to make sure we got this nice and straight. So again, oh, that one I didn't get as good. We're gonna do it backwards this time. Transfer, edge, substrate. Now you could probably get away with just 2 pieces of tape for this, but you know what? It doesn't hurt to be safe. I'm gonna go with 4 just to be safe. Make sure everyone is secure. Fold it over and just double check. Yes, we are pressed all the way up against there. Perfect. So like I said, this is gonna be hanging off the edge of our platen. We're gonna go ahead and fold our blow up paper over. And what we're trying to be mindful of is our blow up paper not folding over and being pressed against our leather. It's been a while since I mentioned these sheets. These sheets of blowout paper are newsprint from Uline. Hands down my favorite to use because they come pre-cut. It's just so much more convenient to have it pre-cut, ready to go. These ones are 15 by 20. Next time I order, I will definitely get 16 by 24. I think that would have been a better option for my 16 by 20 heat press. You know, this was a box of 2,500, so it's going to be a minute before I order them. So I'm going to line this up and see how I'm being cautious that I am not letting that get on my leather. We have plenty of room here. Like the edge of our case top print area is right here. So we have lots of space. So we can pull this out just a little bit. And we're gonna have this hanging off the edge of our press just like this. So you are gonna need to hold this as we back this up. I recommend just holding it from the side here, like this. If you have to hold your press, if you have to slide back your press or swing it, just hold it just like this. You can see my thumb right there. I'm just holding it right up to the edge so it stays in place. We're gonna bring it right on back and lower that platen. Now we are doing 385 degrees today with medium pressure. This item can go for 50 to 60 seconds. You can also choose to lower the temperature and do it for a little bit longer if you're concerned about something getting overheated or anything like that. So that's just something to keep in mind. A lot of doing sublimation is about understanding your particular heat press and the variables that might impact its performance. So we've got just 25 more seconds here. Eyeglass cases, they might seem like something that you don't think about using if you don't wear glasses, but I assure you they are very popular. This is one of those accessory items that a well-rounded accessory-based business can offer. Also, if you offer apparel, this is a great little add-on item for your business to have. Be sure to check out the marketing guide that we've created on this to know some ideas about what kind of prints and pricing will sell and how to market this most effectively. All right. Bring ourselves right on down here. We'll give this just a second to cool off because I'm sure that it is very hot. Grab our heat glove. If you're ever unsure with an item like this, you can very carefully just check it. We can see we got full bleed, so we're very happy with that. And then peel off that transfer, peel off our heat tape, and our other band of heat tape. And there you go. This is stunning. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And there you have it. That is our Sublimation eyeglass sunglass case. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to check all the links in the video description for the items that we use today and download the SubThat Learning Library app to access all of our exclusive tutorials and masterclasses as well as our free videos. Have a wonderful day.